Closed captioning for The Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on The Casey Malone Show.
Today I interview author Sean Posey about his book, Hidden Youngstown. And I prepare Johnny cake with ham and onion. But first, I tap maple trees in Mill Creek Park with John Slanina. I'm here with John Slanina, and he is the president of the Rocky Ridge Neighborhood Association. And he's also one of the big volunteers here that makes maple syrup right here at Rocky Ridge. John, we have been going back and forth, and getting the maple syrup out of the trees is really weather dependent, isn't it?
I have a whole appreciation for what farmers go through. I mean, we joke that we're urban farmers. We live right on the streets across from the park. All of us are volunteers, and there's a very unique window in this entire world where you can make maple syrup.
You know, it always around February, right, is when you start looking for those thaws. Is that correct?
That's right. For the sap to come out of the tree, you need above freezing days and below freezing nights. And that cycle is what makes the pressure in the tree that the sap comes out. Too cold, everything's frozen. Too warm, nothing comes out.
Where did you learn all these nuances?
It was the University of YouTube and the Michael Kusalabari Library on Mahoning Avenue. That's where I got my maple syrup degree. It was online research and learning, experimentation, and failing.
This grove is all maples, and it was planted with maple syrup in mind?
With that intent. In 1951, most of these trees were planted, about 125 trees. It's named after Charles Snelling Robinson. Now, he was on the park board at the time. Interesting thing about Charles Snelling Robinson, his house was where the Ford Nature Center is today. That family sold it to Judge Ford.
Okay.
So that's Snelling Robinson's house. He was off the park board. They planted this maple grove and named it in his honor. And then it was known about, but it kind of forgot in the forgotten world.
When did they start tapping? When did they figure out we got to get tapping?
So we went on a nature hike in 2012 from the park. We left the Ford Nature Center.
Yeah.
We walked all the way over here a couple miles. I'm like, I'm right next to my house. This is a working maple grove. So at the time, went to the park leadership and said, have an idea. Here's literally an untapped resource. For 60 years at that point, if we try to make maple syrup, whatever we sell, we'll give the park half, and the other half our nonprofit will take, and we'll give it to charity. You want to be 6 inches away from a previous drill point.
Okay, it looks like this was one.
Correct. So if we want to put one, say right here, that looks like a good spot, and we're gonna go about 2 inches in. Now you're gonna go straight perpendicular into it, and keep on pushing until we hit the end of that tape. That's 2 inches in.
It's going in. Okay, now I got to reverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
oh, look, Bill, there is already sap. See?
Then perfect.
How do I screw this in a little bit?
Yeah, you don't have to screw it. Just you place it in. No need to screw.
Is that sticking out enough?
Yep, perfect. And then you attach your sap sack.
Wow, this is so much easier.
And look, it's dropping already. Look, you can see it.
Told ya, this was gonna be a good one.
We might have a record. And it will slowly fill up. Now you can see it.
That is awesome.
Ohio was like the Silicon Valley of maple syrup innovations in the 1860s. This tool that we use is called an evaporator, and there's some people that actually patented this over 100 years ago. From Ohio, yep. These hold together about 400 gallons of sap. So you can say from these things being completely full, we'll probably make a little less than 3 gallons of syrup. We have it coming down the pipes into this hood now. Before we built this hood, we didn't have this here, and it was a lot louder in here. But now, from the fire, we preheat the sap coming in. So instead of coming into the system, When we start to boil it at 40 degrees, it now comes into the system at 180 degrees.
So what does this do?
When it needs more, so as you're boiling it away and it realizes that it needs more sap, this automatically goes up and down.
Once this temperature reading reaches 7 over, that's 7 over boiling water, we know that it's syrup. So we open this valve over here, and that's actually...
No way! I am here watching. This is syrup.
Yep, this is it right now.
That amber gold. Yeah.
That's syrup right there. So this is dense. Hydrometer. Third filter that we do during this process here.
One of the things I was showing earlier is that the back flue pan is doing all that work. Every chamber here gets a little bit closer to syrup, a little bit, you can even see how the bubbles change.
I see, and then you can see how the color changes.
Right, so it gets a little bit more concentrated, a little bit more concentrated in every single one.
And what is in there?
Well, this is a very secret thing, but we're on the west side. This is lunch, Casey. This is,
okay.
These are our pirohi
Okay.
that we're boiling. Whoops. And we won't mix it in, it won't get in.
Nick.
But that's our lunch.
Now this looks like a fine cordial, but actually this is not cognac or anything like that. This is prepared right here in Mill Creek Park. And John, I think this is gorgeous. Now, what notes am I looking for?
We'll be looking for some smoky notes. Again, the terroir of the west side. This was just made 10 minutes ago.
There is some smoke. It is delicious. It is, and it's warm. I mean, you feel like you just want to dunk something in it.
From the sales of the syrup, we sponsor a baseball team at Arco Field Mill Creek Junior
Really?
Baseball League.
I
So,
used to play there on the Ponytail League.
right. So there is a team there now, the Rocky Ridge Runners,
Okay.
fully funded from this maple syrup.
Now, where can I purchase this amber gold?
That's a good question. Right now during the pandemic, it's not at the shop at Fellows, Riverside Gardens, where it normally is, but now it's at Krakus Polish Deli and Bakery on Market Street. They're very kind to house it for us. We have a Facebook, which is Rocky Ridge Neighbors.
Okay.
And we'll have updates there as well when the season is coming. But we're in the middle of the season, coming towards the end part of it, all volunteer, and I'm so glad you enjoyed the product.
Oh my God, it's delicious. This is it's a good vintage for Rocky Ridge maple. It's delicious. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Kamara Jewelers is the place to buy an engagement ring because we want a relationship with you that lasts a lifetime. Your commitment with her is the same commitment we have to you.
We want to sit down with you and teach you about diamonds so you're educated on what you're buying. We have the largest selection we ever have, which is the largest in the area, and at the best value. And if it's not something in our case, we could always custom make it. We can make any dream come true.
Get real, get Kamara.
Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old Road Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
Join the Isle and Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available. Given is living. Join the Isle and Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available at $13 an hour. Given is living.
To own a business where your name's on the window can be pretty cool. That's my family. My name is Danny Catullo, and I'm the owner of Catullo Prime Meats. My grandfather started the business in 1962. I was able to take our old style butcher shop and bring it out to the new age using e-commerce to get our products to more customers. When we started shipping, there was not a ton of information out there. That's where we really worked with FedEx so they could be able to help us with our perishable shipping. We were taking on new purchases that we never had to make before. Boxes, coolers, ice packs, anything that was involved around shipping. So we can no longer do this with the cash that we had on hand. So because of the Plum Card from American Express and all of its benefits, it was a natural fit to help grow our business. And when someone calls and lets you know that you made their dinner, that's satisfaction that you can't get anywhere else.
Is it time to update your color style? RNS Paint will assist you with your choice of over 3,400 Benjamin Moore colors. Vibrant, durable, and easy to apply. Be current, be stylish. Shop RNS Paint.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
Family-owned Mayflower Woolham Insurance Group is your full-service independent agency. Our family works with a variety of insurance companies, so you have the best choices for your insurance needs. Let us find the right product at the right price. Personal lines, business, farm, commercial insurance, life insurance. Trust locally owned Mayflower Woolham. You focus on what's important.
We'll take care of the details.
Mayflower Woolham, close by with 3 locations to serve you.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Well, this recipe is going to be a keeper for you. It is Johnny cake with ham and green onion. And Johnny cake is an old Southern dish made with corn muffin mix, and with the ham and the onion, I add a little cayenne. This bakes a really nice 8x8 dish, which is perfect for breakfast. And whenever you have ham, Easter, Christmas, any time of year, there's always leftover, and you're never sure what to do with it. So this dish is perfect. And then you top it off with pure maple syrup, Mill Creek maple. It is an elegant dish, and it's so easy to make. So let's get cooking. We'll go over the ingredient list for Johnny cake. For this recipe, you'll need 1 8.5 ounce box of corn muffin mix, 3/4 cup buttermilk, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 egg beaten, 1 cup of chopped ham, 4 green onions, white and green parts chopped fine, and pure maple syrup for serving. So I've preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and I prepared an 8x8 baking dish with butter. All right, and now we're just going to assemble the Johnny cake. You're not going to believe how easy this is. 1 box, Jiffy's available everywhere, of their corn muffin mix, and then add your cayenne pepper. Now, if you do not like the heat, you can let this out, but I find that the cornbread mix really is sweet. And with the maple syrup, you just want to counter that a little bit, and just a little bit of cayenne does the trick. So just whisk that together to make sure it's evenly distributed. Add the egg, and I have this egg at room temperature. It helps with the baking. And then the buttermilk. All right, 3/4 cup. The ham. And 4 green onions, chopped fine with the green part included. And then you just mix this together by hand. You don't need the beater. You don't need the immersion blender. And you just mix it all together. Until it's combined. For about 2 or 3 minutes, let this rest, because it'll help with the rise of your Johnny cake. So it's been about 3 minutes. That's all. Just let it rest a little bit. And I mixed it one more time. And now I am just going to pour it into the prepared dish. Okay. And then we'll put this in the oven for about 20 minutes. And it'll be nice and gold around the edges. And if yours isn't, just put it a couple minutes more. You can also use this batter to make pancakes. Heat up the griddle, 1/8 of a cup, 2 minutes each side, and you'll have little Johnny cakes. But I think the presentation in the pan is much nicer. This is amazing. I love it. All the flavors are there. The onion and the ham, a little bit of kick with the cayenne, the sweetness of the cornbread, and of course, pure maple syrup right from Mill Creek Park. And, watch your time on this. Usually this bakes up in 20 minutes, but mine for some reason wasn't setting up as much, so I had to go an extra 7 minutes. You want that golden brown crust going around the pan. But I'm telling you, this is a sure crowd pleaser. Just go to my website, caseymalonshow.com, and look for the recipe. It's called Johnny Cake with ham and with green onion. And you know what really cuts through all these wonderful flavors? I'm having a grapefruit-based mimosa. It is delicious. It just all works so well together. So this is perfect for your next batch of leftover ham. Cheers.
We'll be right back with more local flavor.
I am here with Rude the Dude at the Magic Tree Pub and Eatery. What is happening?
Nothing. We just finished off last year strong with all of our parties in the banquet room. So we're starting already to book parties this spring in the banquet room also. We got a couple things we're working on for outside in the parking lot, a couple different big events that we'd like to put on this year for everybody. So we're starting the year out strong and starting to get ready.
Oh, looking forward to spring. And don't forget, you're looking for those local beers? They are right here on tap at the Magic Tree. And I gotta tell you, this Nitro Brew coffee is made right here.
Yeah, we make this in-house with our roasted beans from the Youngstown Coffee Company. So we support local coffee, beer, and food.
Oh man, always something happening right here. Go to their website, magictreepubandeatery.com, and find out more.
Donate now. GavaCamp has a generous family that will match every dollar you donate. Help us build a barrier-free educational camp for our friends with special needs. Visit our website or call for more details. Giving is living.
Rulli Brothers is way ahead of the competition. Check out Rulli Spice World, where you can buy bulk herbs and spices, plus candies, nuts, and fillings for pennies on the dollar. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
I'm all about local, and my bank is Farmers National Bank. Farmers is the true hometown bank in the Mahoning Valley, standing strong for our local families and businesses since 1887. Farmers is also future-focused with a lab branch, interactive teller machines, and best-in-class mobile mortgage app. We've all learned the value of local relationships, businesses, and communities. Switch to Farmers. Well, what better place to interview one of our local authors than at a bookstore? So we are still here at Leanna's Books, and they have that huge historical section about Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania, and Sean Posey has a new book out. This was your pandemic project?
It was a pandemic project for sure, absolutely.
And he's written a couple other books, but this one is The Hidden History of Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley.
Correct.
And wow, there are so many things. I'm a lifetime resident of the Valley. Are you?
No, I was born here, but I mostly grew up in the Akron-Canton area.
And then you're back here now.
Yeah, I'm back here now. So.
And you're a freelance writer.
Right.
And a history major.
Right, yes.
Masters.
Right.
And this is really your jam. I mean, you really like to read and write about history.
Yeah, it is absolutely my...
Do you get these assignments? Does the press call you and say, this is a really good idea for a book?
Well, that's how it started. They read some journalism articles I had written about regional history for a couple national publications, and they pitched me the idea to do Lost Youngstown, because they have a series. There's Lost Los Angeles and Detroit and Pittsburgh. I think Detroit is actually their biggest selling one they ever did. And so that was the first one I did. And because I did so much research for it, I had a lot that I didn't use. So that, and then I had no plans to do a third book. I had some articles that I was working on because I wanted to do a column for the Vindicator.
Okay.
And then the Vindicator closed.
Of course, another Lost Youngstown situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to set those aside, and then when the pandemic happened, I was working on a piece about the Spanish flu. And doing all that research and thinking about what was going on, my first thought was, this is not going to be a couple months like they're saying. This is going to be a long thing. So then I called my publisher and I'm like, hey, how about another book?
This picture showing the infirmary out in Canfield, and it was like for the indigent, it was for the insane, I just can't believe that this place existed.
It is hard for people to believe, yeah.
I mean, and you see this picture, and you can't believe this was built. And I mean, you've just got to read the descriptions of some of this stuff.
There was a Columbiana infirmary, there was a Trumbull County infirmary.
And they were called inmates. So
yeah,
it makes it sound like there was a prison.
Right, so in all the reports I looked at, that's how they referred to people as inmates.
And they worked the farm. It was on
if
like
they
all
could,
these
yeah.
acreage.
Some people obviously couldn't do anything, and that's why they were there. They were disabled or they were just older. But yeah, if they could, they worked the farm and they had little plots where they grew their own food. And there was even an interesting oral history I found. I didn't get to put it in the book, where the men, because they basically, if you were there for a long time or for life, you pretty much never left. So in the summer, some of the men would go with building materials and they would go out, because this was a massive facility and there was woods there and everything. They would go out into the woods and build themselves a summer cottage, like just a little shack, and then they would just hang out there all summer. So not everybody who went there was there for life. Some people just came and then they left. But some people were there until they were like 100 years old.
And the graveyard, the cemetery, so there are still, you found these, there's pictures in here of you finding and the markers just have numbers.
Yeah.
So then were you able to find the record book?
Yes. Now
where do you find all this stuff?
Well, fortunately, there were some people, and I'm not sure if any of them still are alive, that did some research on this for the Ohio Genealogical Society.
Okay.
And I found their research materials, and I built off that, and I just, they found out there was 2 cemeteries, one closer to Herbert Road, and the records for that burned up in the 1898 fire. So we don't even know who's buried there, but we know that there were people buried there, and the bodies are still there. I'm sure of it.
Wow.
Now that's an
haunted. That's like haunted land site.
Yeah, now that is an environmentally protected easement. However, the second cemetery is in the middle of the Stonebridge development. And there are people that have bodies in their backyard, and I don't know if they're aware of it or not, but like they're living on top of or next to a cemetery where
poltergeist.
Hundreds of people were buried.
You only move the headstones!
And what about the Green Book?
Sure.
That is really interesting. And I didn't realize that Youngstown had a lot of, very traveler-friendly places for, the
really.
Black travelers. Yeah.
The Green Book was started by a guy in New York City, and the idea behind it was in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, Black travelers, you just couldn't go anywhere. Like there was tons of places that wouldn't sell you gas or let you stay the night or let you buy food. So this was a place where if you were saying going to Akron or Canton or Youngstown, you could look and it would tell you, here are places you can go for service. And Youngstown just happened to have a lot. I mean, at one time there was 8 motels just in Youngstown.
Yeah.
So if you happened to be going through there, it was perfect because they had your lodging, they had places you could go food, even like a bar, like Taylor's where you go if you needed that.
I mean, really, and it was extensive. When I read that, I couldn't, you don't think about that stuff.
Sure.
Are you going to start having some book signings and hanging out?
Yes, I wanted to do it earlier, but COVID once again kind of interfered with those plans. But yes, I'm going to be at the Historical Society next month for sure.
Yeah.
At their Bites and Bits. But yeah, I want to start doing now, February going forward, a lot more public events and signings and all that type of stuff.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.